Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. The registrar of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker.
John.
What?
John, wrong live
What?
stream. Wrong live stream.
Oh, God. Oh, right. Okay. Which one's this?
Something about modelling.
Oh, that one. Oh, Lordy. Oh. Anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to the interesting modelling company Midweek Mince Pie.
Sorry about him.
Trust me, everybody is. As you may have noticed, we're in a new locale tonight. We're in the library. A few bits and pieces I'm still working on in here at the moment, but as you can see, we've look at this. Look, isn't it lovely? Isn't it festive?
As you can see, it's just the same as ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so how exciting. First day of December.
Yes. I will reluctantly allow Christmas trees at this point.
Excellent. Well, I haven't had a mince pie yet, but I'm going to have one this evening when I'm doing go.
I've had several.
Several. I've also just cracked open the first of my Advent herbal teas, which is jolly good. Which you'll notice here, I'm drinking in a nice mug with a little robin on it. So I'll have a different Christmas mug every day until New Year. So cheers.
You probably, you could do that. Easy.
Oh, that's delicious. That now, I did get you something, and I was out about today. I did get you a nice present.
What did you get me, John?
I got you that. Right. Somebody said you like Peppa Pig.
Oh, did
right?
they?
Yeah, they did. I've got it here on the phone. They said you. Right. Okay. Apparently you like peppered pig.
There you go.
Whoops.
You're really hamming it up tonight, aren't you?
Yep. Well, there's a Peppa Pig advent calendar here for you anyway. So as and when. Well, when you come up, it'll be on Christmas Day. So you'll have 24 little Peppa Pig chocolates to wade your way through. So
what can I say? Thanks. Anyway,
should we actually get on a modelling show in a minute?
Yeah,
should we just drift off? It's Christmas. We're going to be a bit.
But we need I mean, we're probably going to have a Christmas show, aren't we?
Oh, we are going to have a Christmas show, but it's going to be the Christmas show on top of however many we're going to cram out between now and Yule. So
Yule.
And I am working on some new opening titles as well. So, the Sweeney ones will have to go for a while. We need something a bit more festive. Anyway, hello, everybody. Welcome to the interesting modelling company, Midweek Mince Pie. I hope you're all very well. You keeping all right, Drew?
Yeah, not bad, actually. Yeah, I mean, it's been a stressy start to the week with mother and stuff and paramedics and things and whatnot. Yes. But yeah, otherwise okay. Yeah, getting some progress on the Bronco now, slowly but surely, sort of starting. Well, I always think that when you get to the stage where you're starting to put markings on it, you're actually once you start putting markings on it, you're kind of actually starting to make progress, aren't you? That's what it feels like.
It starts to come together, doesn't it?
Yeah, you start to see you start to see what you have in your mind's eye for the finished product, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Once things like markings start going on it, and I have to say, the Bronco is remarkably devoid of markings. There's like the major sort of service markings and like 10 or so stencils, and that's it. It's like really the work of a couple of hours to put the decals on, but obviously they need some work to get them over the all the rivet detail and stuff. And this Misty here is about 7 or 8 millimeters too long, which is good because it means you locate the Misty and the stars in the right place, let the decal set for a while, and then you trim the front and back, so it's always going to fit. So,
shall I let you into a decal designer's secret?
What?
I always make markings like that oversized for precisely those reasons.
Yeah, which meant that once it had set a bit, look, all I had to do was trim the front.
Yeah.
And then trim the
question.
back.
We got questions coming thick and fast here. Anthony Bird says, with the Bronco, do you have to add much weight to the nose?
Do you know what? This is one I was going to I was intending to discuss, because I have filled the area behind. Oh, let's go back to me. There you go. I have filled the area behind the cockpit and the front of the engine nacelles with lead, and it looks like it's going to balance okay. And I saw a post from somebody else this week, I'm not sure who, is building the kit, and they put the kit entirely together, took out all the nose weight, and guess what? It balances without nose weight.
So there's enough center of gravity with the kit without any kind of additional weighting.
The theory is, yes, there is, and the theory is that in 48 scale, relative wall thicknesses are thinner than they are in 72nd. So you haven't got as much mass behind the center of gravity or behind the main wheels as you have, relatively speaking, in a 72nd scale model, where you do have to pack nose weight in any way you can find it. On this, apparently, because like I say, relative wall thicknesses and things are thinner, it balances fine. So it's like we've all been sort of jamming as much weight in as we can, because it's a Bronco and it's clearly not going to balance, and apparently it balances just fine. So that's one to that's one to take away for the next time. I'm not sure I would entirely trust it with no weight, but if you certainly with the OV10D with a bigger nose, you can get some weight in there. I might put a bit in the nose of that, but certainly it's a turn up for the books, isn't it?
Yeah, because you were mulling, to use a seasonal pun, you were mulling over where you were going to cram nose weight into that model.
Yeah, because I was mulling it over and there was nowhere inside her to get it. Get it?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, and
a big advent calendar,
and it appears that it doesn't need it. So,
Steve Moore says, anyone use liquid ballast? Try scuba diver shot, same but not £10 a bottle.
Interesting. I mean, like I say, I've got that sheet of roofing lead I bought a couple of decades ago that will last me a lifetime. So, it's
just googling that scuba diver shot. Fill in, Drew. I'm just
looking at, and Mike Williams said it's Pier Paolo Maglio posted his Bronco without the nose weight in it. So yeah.
Diving shot, that's what you're looking for.
An interesting turn up for the books. So on my next one, I'll try.
Thanks for that, Steve. We'll look into that. Jim Altagot says Bronco looks great, Drew.
Honestly, it's a fantastic model. If you want a 48 scale Bronco, the game is over at this point. There's just get it. Oh, excuse me. That's
newsflash.
Newsflash, yeah.
Newsflash. Tamiya announced 48 scale Bronco. Drew mounted in Paris live on air. There we go. So,
oh no.
Just for the record, folks, Tamiya have not announced a 48 scale Bronco. I don't want, that's technically what we call a joke, right?
Or have they?
No. Mind you, they snuck that huge Centurion under the radar, didn't they?
Yeah, that's 16th scale Centurion. Is that all new then?
It's all new.
All right.
Brand new 16th
I kind of looked at they did a 25th scale one, didn't they? Yeah.
16th scale Centurion. There's a turn up for the books.
That's going to be a big old bus, isn't it?
Yes. We're both now thinking. We hope that neither of us gets a phone call to say a week before a show, can we build one, please?
Yeah. Although I have to say, the idea of a 16th scale Centurion isn't entirely unattractive, if I'm honest, because it's British, isn't it? And it's which, do you know? So I literally I haven't seen anything about it. Which variant is it? Is it with a 25 pounder or a 105? Do we know?
Hang about. Let me just look that up. Tamiya 1/16 Centurion. I'm just having a look. Full details. There we go. Tamiya blog. It's a Mark III.
Does the main gun have a muzzle brake on it?
It does have a muzzle brake on it.
Yeah, it's all right. It's 25 pounder. Okay.
How about share screen? Bear with. There we go. Bing!
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be that's a big old bus, isn't it?
It is a big old bus. I mean, that's a Centurion, isn't it? A lightweight.
Well, it's the first. Well, I always think of the Centurion as really the first of what you'd call main battle tanks.
Mm-hmm.
It's when the main battle tank sort of ethos came in, because you can see it's clearly massively different from anything on the Allied side that came before it, and pretty much anything from the German side. Look at the Panthers and Tigers, and they're hugely different vehicles to that. In every design aspect. Steve Moore seems to know more than we do. Running gear is from the Sheridan.
Okay, running gear is from the Sheridan. Let's call that back up again. Obviously, it's an RC vehicle, so full details. I'm just bringing it back up again. Share screen. Oh, come on, StreamYard, make this easier. There we go. So that's running gear from a Sheridan. Okay.
I'll take it. I'll take Steve's word for it. I don't.
Yeah. That's interesting.
But it's aimed at the RC crowd, isn't it?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Perhaps.
As you were saying, it kind of this very much was the birth of the modern British main battle tank.
Well, it was the birth of the main battle tank. Full stop.
Yeah.
Even stuff like the you got the M26, the early Pershings and stuff like that. That they were kind of a step on the way. But this feels like which sort of became whole with the M47 and M48. But the Centurion to me feels like the first real proper main battle tank.
And it's even more remarkable when you think that variants thereof stayed in service with the British Army right up until recent times.
Yeah. I mean, they were the AVREs were in the Gulf, weren't they? Went out to the Gulf. And
when you think, if you were to say, the variants of the Tiger or the Panther were still being used up until the mid 1990s, mid 1990s, to late 90s, you'd think that was remarkable. Yet the Centurion, it had, its descendants were still, 50 years later, were still in service. I think that's a remarkable testament to
and you only have to look at stuff like what the Israelis did with the Centurion. The Israelis really took the Centurion to heart, and had many hundreds of them in many different variants, including with ones with M48 and M60 engine decks and engines in them.
Wow.
Later on, diesel engines. So
hang about. South African National Defence Force still employs over 200 Centurions, which were modernised in the 1980s and 2000s as the Oliphant.
The Oliphant. Yes.
Yeah. What a remarkable vehicle.
Indeed.
Just having a quick scroll down to see when it did actually leave British service. It'll probably tell me. amazing amount of operators. We'll just run through.
Israel, yeah, well, yeah. It was
Israel,
just
Jordan, South Africa, Australia, Austria, Canada, Denmark, Egypt, India, Iraq, Kuwait, Lebanon, Netherlands, New Zealand, Romania, Singapore, Somalia, Sweden, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom, replaced by the Chieftain. So, yeah. Wow.
See Mike Reeves there saying, I've literally seen 2 RC tanks being driven in my 52 years. Seems like a very niche market, or I live under a rock. Mike, they're massive in the UK. You go to any model show and there are rows and rows of these big RC tanks being driven around. And they are supremely irritating a lot of the time.
They are massively irritating. So anybody, no, they are.
Let's say there are regular comments about needing a 16th scale Typhoon or A10. But they can be, because they've all got sound effects, haven't they? And they're they are.
We literally have been at shows, and you're like, have you got any sugar? What? Have you got any sugar? What? Have you got any sugar?
Achtung, Panzer.
Actually, question. Pavel says, how can Centurion running beer be Sheridan if Sheridan has 5 road wheels and Centurion has 6? So what, Pavel, Steve, sort it out amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
It's a very customized 1/16 scale Challenger 2, which is RC, but full of repainting details. Okay, that's interesting. We'll find out more as and when more details come available of it. But
but no, Mike, I can guarantee you that the RC tanks are massive over here.
Yeah,
and massively expensive as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
these people. I mean, in deference to how irritating they can be at model shows, they are very impressive engineering works, if you like. But yeah, they certainly are. They certainly are popular.
Talking of modified tanks, bear with me a second. I'm just going to call this up because I seem to remember you pointed this out to me, and that is, bear with. Here we go. Chrome. There we go. A certain 2014 monster flick had some M1 Abrams on the Golden Gate Bridge, but they weren't M1s.
Yeah.
Do you know what they were?
A lot of Chieftain Centurions get used for that.
Yeah, they're modified Chieftains apparently.
Yeah. A lot of Chieftains. A lot of Chieftains get used. Seem to have found their way to the United States and been used in various films and stuff. Walking Dead, one of the very early episodes of The Walking Dead, had a Chieftain in it. As well. So, yeah. Yes.
Now, a topic you threw out to the wider world today.
Thought we might have a chat about this.
I'm going to have a chat about this, and this is where you and I, there is a parting of the ways in terms of attitudes, because how did you word it again? It was a
in actual fact, I shouldn't have worded it the way I did. I've since sort of appended that to say that whilst I said I've got no time for old kits, I would never use an old kit where a new kit is available. What I mean is I will always seek the best representation of a subject to start from when I build a model. That's what I meant. That's what I meant saying how I should have said it. But what I said was I have no time for older kits. It's kind of like, for the most part, it's true in that, as soon as a superior model of a subject that I like to build is released, the older ones are redundant to me because I want the best engineered, easiest build I can get because I like painting. So, if you look at the amount of models fit Mirages I built over the last year, I wouldn't be, if I suddenly wanted to build 5 Mirages, I wouldn't be hacking and slashing at Revell and Hella ones when that's available, would I? and like I said, and I made it quite clear that that's my opinion, and it's not actually. There was no right or wrong answer. I was just looking for other people's thoughts on it, where they come from in terms of their modelling, what floats their boat modelling wise, because I like the finishing aspect and I like multiple colour schemes. I don't want to have to fight a model to get to put the colour scheme I want on it, and then if I want to do another of the same type, then have to fight it again. If there's a readily available, kit of that subject, which is going to get me there in, a few hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like there was no right or wrong answer. It wasn't an argument. It was a discussion.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just going to call it up because there were a couple of comments that are worth further discussion. Bear with me a second. I'm just calling it up. It was Jose TXedo.
Yeah, I saw.
I used to be like that. Obviously, Jose has a slightly kind of like Southern English accent. He says, "I used to be like that. I used to be like that." Then, about 10 years ago, I started collecting the kits from my childhood, and it very quickly evolved in this taste for memorabilia builds that I happen to enjoy very much. Nowadays, I lust over old Monogram Airfix kits. Then I do the latest Tamiya, which I also get, by the way, but fall quickly in priority over older kits. Anyway, look, there we go. But yeah, I agree with that. I very much, my thing for building older kits isn't because I'm a masochist, and it's not because I'm not seeking to build them as the best representative of that subject. It is purely the nostalgia that is encapsulated within that box. Like the beach buggy at the moment. Okay, absolutely. I didn't build the beach buggy as a kid, but it was one of those models that I wanted to build as a kid. Truth be told, probably the Revell beach buggy is a better kit to start off with. It's 32nd scale. But sitting down and building that little Airfix one, I've had an immense amount of fun with that. And I think that's true, that I could go back and, like that F104 I built for Spencer's book. There are clearly better TF104G kits in 72nd scale, but I wanted to build the Matchbox one.
Yeah, whereas I simply wouldn't enjoy doing that. I would be looking for the I would be looking for the Revell or the Hasegawa TF104 because it is a clearly superior kit in every aspect, and I want the best, most detailed and accurate starting point because, as I say, I'm a color schemes and finishes guy. So that's I don't want to be. I want the best starting point to get me to the best finishing point, and I don't really. I do nostalgia in the sense of I like having some old kits from my childhood, but it's never any intent to build them. I don't want to build them. I'm not, I'm sorry, I'm not going to try and build the Matchbox Night Fighter Meteor now, am I?
No.
Now that the special hobby one's available, I know, and somebody showed their Matchbox one, and they've done a very nice job of it. And I'm just thinking that for me, whilst the argument was made that perhaps a special hobby one isn't as accurate in some of the details as the Matchbox one, to me, it's still going to make a better starting point for what I want to achieve, which is where that no right, no wrong comes from. It was just how do people feel? I don't do nostalgia in terms of wanting to build stuff like that. So
interesting. Yeah.
It's like, and Andy's there saying I built a Revell Matchbox, the Dawn Idio 28. Simply, yeah, exactly. If I wanted to build one, that would be the only option I had. But I would desperately love for somebody to do a new Tool Dornier, a new Sky Servant. I would absolutely love it if somebody would, Models Fit or somebody would pick that up, and I would love to. I've got an Airfix short Skyvan in the attic. which is actually a really nice model anyway.
That's a very nice kit, that. Yeah.
Absolutely superb model in its own right. But if somebody else had another crack at it at this point, I would be all over it. You know, Anthony Bird there saying, have you ever had a new kit and found it's not as good as an old kit? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's why, and that's why I kind of, that's why, Anthony, I rephrased my question later on to say, I like to start with the best available kit of a subject. You know,
I can give you an example of that. It's just having a quick think here. I think it was it Pavla this is going back about 20 years, mind you. They did a brand new 72nd scale Westland Whirlwind fighter.
Yes.
And I remember when it came out and people were saying, great, now I won't have to build the Airfix kit because the Pavla kit's got panel lines and it's got this and it's got that. And then you actually started seeing what was involved in building the Pavla kit and how much of it was having to kind of carve bits and fill bits and things. And I looked at it and I thought, do you know what? It's just easier to build the Airfix kit. And if you want, rescribe it. Just because it's new and because superficially some of the detail looked more modern, as an actual kit, I just thought,
Pavla unfortunately had a long history of doing this with their sort of earlier tooling technologies. They did the same with the Tiger Cat. They released some Tiger Cats, and whilst the Tiger Cat has got some beautiful shapes on it, it's still a fairly simple design. It's the wings are planks basically strapped onto the side of a fuselage. Stuff like that, and yet Pavla still managed to make that kit fit terribly. Where Monogram had released a kit in 1967 that builds in 2 hours absolutely beautifully. It's got no detail, but in terms of its external shape and all the rest of it, I would rather use that as a starting point than the Pavla kit, which has got a lot more detail in it. But it's just simply an uphill battle to get to, get to where you want to be. Incidentally, if somebody wants to do a 72nd scale Tiger Cat, feel free.
Clint Dodd says, I just can't help but smile the entire time building a new tool Tamiya kit. The engineering just as amazing and keeps the mojo going. Well, that's your department.
And this is a discussion we've had repeatedly, isn't it? As I love building new tool Tamiya kits because they are just, they're just an experience. They're an experience in what happens when money genuinely is no object in getting the exact, quality of tooling, plastic, everything you want. When money's no object. But having said that, and we're talking about this, Edouard started releasing their BF 109Gs, and then Tamiya came along a year later with their BF 109G and 48 scale. I've built all of them, so the Tamiya kit is a year newer. It's it builds. There's no argument that it builds considerably more easily than the Edouard kit, but I will still prefer the Edouard kit. I like the way the Edouard kit. I like the surface detail on the Edouard kit. I like the fact that they've done a massive family of them, so I can, whereas Tamiya do beautiful stuff, but very limited in scope. They haven't sort of they haven't expanded on that Messerschmitt at all, have they?
It's a different business model.
Yeah, it's absolutely. But what I'm saying is that in terms of that discussion where some people are saying, have we ever had a newer kit that isn't as good as the older kit? Well, I mean, we're talking about a compressed time frame of, only a little over a year, between the Edouard re-release, I should say, the Edouard retool being released, and then the Tamiya kit. But I have no unbuilt Tamiya Messerschmitt BF 109s here, and I have a small pile of Edouard ones with plans. And you saw me, what was it, getting on 2 years ago, I was building nothing but Edouard BF 109s, was I? I just kept on building Edouard BF 109s. So, yeah, I think it's like I say, the question I phrased the question badly. I would always rather start with the best starting point, and it's the same with the Spitfire Mark Ones now. I've built two of the Tamiya ones. Absolutely loved building them both, but now I'd rather build the Edward one because I like I like the way the surface is detailed better, and the fact that they've covered so many different options more comprehensively. So, it's not a newer doesn't always mean better. But I mean, I would rather start with the best kit I can to get the result I want from.
No, that's fair enough. Like I say, that is what you are. That's what you want to get out of your modelling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is your thing. Like I say, I like to build new models. Obviously, I like to build new models, but I do. This is where you and I have a difference in perspective. Is that I do like revisiting things from the past or finding those kits that eluded me as a kid, or all those kinds of things, and going back. And there is a certain weird satisfaction, especially kits that I might have built as a kid and they didn't turn out how I wanted them because I just didn't have the skills, I didn't have the tools, I didn't have any of that. And it's going back and revisiting them and actually completing them to the standard I wished I could have done, when I was 7, 8, 9, or 10, whatever. It would be incredibly boring if we were all the same. Be easier, but it would be incredibly boring. People build for entirely different reasons. As you know, one of my many Mox modeling cliches is I don't care what people are building as long as they're building something. As long as
the interesting
are engaged with the hobby, fine.
And the interesting thing that question I posed, the interesting thing that came from that is that how broad a church it is. People, opinions covered the whole gamut. From I like building older kits. I like building only the newest stuff, and I like building everything I can get my hands on. That was so. Which, if I'm blunt, I expected. It's why I was careful about the way I phrased the question, so it wasn't confrontational in terms of, I was suggesting what my preference was and asking other people what their preference was.
Not suggesting. Perfectly valid. Perfectly valid question. And like I say, everybody's what people are building on their workbench is the perfect model for them. We see this quite often, that somebody builds something and they share it on social media and they share the pleasure that they had from building it, and then somebody rocks up and says, you shouldn't have built that, you should have built this one, this one's better, this one's blah blah blah, and you're just like, just why don't you rob their joy a bit more? I don't get that. It's like somebody has built something, they've enjoyed it, and you've now come along and pretty much said, literally the old Harry Enfield character, isn't it? You don't want to do it like that, you want to do it like this, and it's like, well, really.
That's the old joke of, listen, pal, if I want your opinion, I'll give it to you.
Yes. But, no, I'm just like I say, I have had so much fun with that little beach buggy. I'm not going to weather it now. I've decided I'm not going to weather it. I did hover over doing some weathering over the weekend, and then I thought, do you know what? I kind of like. I think in order to break that cycle of how I kind of like fall into the trap of doing certain things and repeating certain processes, I think on this occasion I'm not. I'm going to keep that pristine, get the figures finished, and then that's it. In fact, this is one of the things that my op-ed for Brett this month for the for Model Airplane International, and this kind of riffs on what John Buis was saying in his video, where he said about if you want to grow in the hobby, it's about finding time for it, and kind of cutting your cloth according to your means. And I think back to Kettencad Gate, where that whole project went down a rabbit hole of me trying to do those figures like I'm, deluding myself that somehow I was going to bash out Euro Militaire standard prize-winning figures because I have, I just have that, urge to try and better what I've done in the past. If you are trying to manage projects and you are trying to manage time, and there are results that you can do which are perfectly acceptable, if the end result is perfectly acceptable, is sometimes you've got to swallow your ego and actually do that. The problem is, what I ended up with, I could have done a hell of a lot quicker and a hell of a lot easier. But I went down that whole thing of trying to get a handle on technique.
New technique.
And it's not about the technique. That isn't important. I needed to deliver a model, so I needed to do it in the most ergonomic and economic fashion possible. And I'm looking at these figures for the beach bug at the moment, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to repeat that mistake. I know a certain number of techniques that I can use which will generate more than passable painted figures.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get sucked into a thing of, no, I am going to master this technique. I am going to learn how to do figure painting with acrylics, because what happens is you just go off a cliff.
Which you did. You stripped those figures 7 or 8 times. I see Chadlammer in the house. I'm actually toying with swinging by on Saturday afternoon. I might take a drive out there on Saturday afternoon.
I can't. I'm otherwise engaged, but
you're always otherwise engaged.
I'm sorry about that.
You just don't care about me anymore. You just don't care about me anymore.
I bought you a Peppa Pig advent calendar, man. For God's sake. Any more of this, and I'm digging into number 1. Trust me. I can't. See, look, there's even a little game on the back that you can play. It's just... See...
I'm telling you, viewers, he would cancel an appointment to see me because he decided to go to Poundland instead. Can't see a Saturday going to Poundland.
That's grossly unfair. That's grossly unfair. Home Bargains may be, but not Poundland. I will be dropping by. Well, that's it. I'm now on my vacation. So I've done my bit for Queen and Country. So, I will be popping over to Glastonbury at some stage. And there we go. Jad, so you're more than welcome to swing by. Fortunately, I'm back at home with COVID. Sorry to hear that, Russ.
Yes, hope it's not banged you, had you too badly, mate. Hope you
obviously, best wishes from us and everybody here for a speedy recovery. So we'll look forward to seeing you once you're out of isolation.
See Steve Moore there.
Jim says, I agree, Jonathan. I like anybody who says I agree, Jonathan. Often I find myself stuck on a figure painting project because I set a high standard as you're just painting the beep thing. So exactly. Yeah. It is that thing of you become so enamored with trying to kind of like do a technique or trying to follow a certain set of processes that you lose sight of what it is you're supposed to be doing.
And in that case, it was delivering a model to somebody for.
Yeah, exactly. It was delivering a model. I mean, the point is, I didn't miss the deadline because I still, the deadline was that model had to be ready for the Al Murray, for the Warfest show.
Yeah.
But I could have finished it at least 3 weeks beforehand. But I just tunnel vision. I couldn't lose. Couldn't lose. Mike Reeves, God, it's like emergency ward 10 here. Mike Reeves says, I tested positive for COVID on Friday, even with 3 jabs. I feel perfectly fine.
I see Steve Moore there was saying, it's interesting we keep coming back to why each of us do this hobby. It's an often reoccurring topic. I think that's because it's endlessly fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
It's an endlessly fascinating thing to discuss. What our motivations are for the hobby, because for every person who builds it as a kind of an extension of their historical interest, there's a person who just likes sticking bits together.
Yep.
And so I just think it's an endlessly fascinating subject.
Yeah, absolutely. We we're all in a hobby, but we're all in this hobby for infinitesimally different reasons.
There you go, John.
I think. Sorry.
Week Saturday.
All right, there we go. Hanging in there, thanks. The rest of the team did a great job. Especially both come down the following Saturday. I'll give you the full tour. Hang on, let me just check my diary. That's the week Saturday is going to be. That's going to be the
10th or 11th.
11th. Yeah, 11th. Saturday 11th. I'll just mark that. Oh, it's also a Wells Market Day as well. There you go. Double bill, Wells and Glastonbury. Yeah, okay. We'll pencil that in. We'll do that. Also, sorry to hear Steve.
No, notice people say he says he'd pencil it in rather than put it in black marker. So there's time for a better offer to come along.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve Moore says, "Me too." Last day on Thursday. Sorry to hear that, Steve. Well, we hope everybody is. Wish everybody a speedy recovery. I think this is just going off on a slight tangent here. It's one of the things I was reading up today about this Omicron variant is that it might be the variant that is very transmissible but ends up eating itself by weakening itself.
Well, it's in effect all these. It appears to me that as we've gone on, the various strains have done exactly what viruses do. They become more transmissible and less virulent. It's exactly what a virus does to survive, isn't it? Because if a virus is too virulent, it kills itself anyway, there's no means of transmission to survive. Yeah.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed that hopefully in 4 months' time, Cosford will have their show, and we'll be back, baby. We'll be back at back doing a model show. And Simon Lewis says Poundland have a sale on that day. No, they don't. Although Poundland are doing those Dale Rowney brushes that I've shown on the show before. They do a flat. They're very good. Two paint brushes for £1, and they are actually quite good quality paint brushes. So, Mike says I have the Delta. Oh, blimey! Sorry to hear that, Mike. But his family's testing negative. Is that an LTF, Mike, or have you done a PCR as well? We'll get a response in a second.
I don't know. I don't know what because with us it's lateral flow, and if that's positive, then you get the PCR, don't you? So
yeah, you get PCR. Yeah. But anyway, everybody out there, obviously, it goes without saying, please all remain vigilant and remain safe. We do like, we do.
There you go. There you go. Mike's had a PCR. So
PCR, hopefully over the next few days or so, this old time in the workshop gets split now because I should, I having spent time and money getting this library sorted out, the one thing I do want to do is come up here, in the evening, switch the lights on and everything, and then have a read. And purposefully, this is going to be a room where that gets left downstairs. In fact, the only concession to technology tonight is the fact that I've got the MacBook up here because I should be doing ghost stories half an hour after this.
Right.
But that's it. This is going to be a tech-free room.
I have to say, I've discovered audiobooks in a big way recently.
Right.
I'm really. I've always steered clear of audiobooks because I thought it was cheating. Mm-hmm. In the same way that once upon a time I thought reading on the Kindle was cheating. Mm-hmm. And now if it's not a reference, if it's not reference material, if I'm reading some kind of fiction, it's always going to be on my Kindle. And I found that because I can sit at my modeling desk for a couple of hours and do stuff with the audiobook in the background. It's fabulous. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely fabulous. So I commend them to the house.
I'm still to this day, apart from when the BBC Proms are on, I am still, if there's footy on the radio, I will sit down, do some modelling and listen to the footy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the same. It's a similar thing because I've been listening to. As I was saying just the other day somewhere else. Is I think I put it on my Facebook feed. Is we love music and love new music, but this year I haven't really listened to any new music at all. Really, I've had a year of listening to a lot of podcasts. And now audiobooks. I'm kind of, it'll come back. My desire to listen to new, but I've got a pile of new music here, and I haven't even listened to yet.
It just reminded me actually. As a quick, goodness me, there is a new Darkness album out, and I haven't got it yet.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
All right, better order that.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah, Mick Wilson now saying drove from Edinburgh to Scale Model World and back and got through a large part of John Nichols' Lancaster. Yeah, it's just the fact that you can have it in the background while you're doing something else, and just be listening to it, and it's as you're doing stuff, and you're kind of absorbing it that way.
That's one of the things I was going to say is, as much as the pair of us are, utterly gorgeous creatures to actually watch on a computer screen or on a stream to your television, we do actually hope that for people who do watch this show, is use this as your hours modelling, and just prop us up in the corner and have us as the audio background. So anybody who says, I wish I could have time to get on with some modelling. Look, if you're watching us, you've got time to do modelling.
If you're watching us, you can do your.
Yeah, we are your modelling. We are your modelling motivators. So have us in the corner. And
in fact, was it Mr. Aldergott at the very beginning said he's actually taken that 10 minutes of modelling a day to heart and is doing it now. That we discussed. And is saying stuff's actually happening on his desk. Now he's making sure to get just. I mean, this last week, because I mean it's sort of tied up with other stuff. I've been getting 10 or 15 minutes a day in on the Bronco. It's only in the last day or so that it's really started to pick up pace again. Apart from the couple of hours spent applying the camouflage, which the more I look at, the happier I am with it. That camouflage came out really, really nicely. So yeah.
There you go. Mike's got the idea. Mike says, I'm watching and assembling A26K engines right now. There you go. Gotta say, the 10-minute thing, I mean, it's let's be honest, we did kind of like shamelessly pilfer, kind of like not the idea, but we were riffing on what John Buis was saying, which is, find the time, even if you can't. I think we all like to think, let's have a quality hour, 2 hours at the workbench and do something. But if you can't do that,
you can't always do that.
What you can do in 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, which when you do get a bit of quality time, suddenly you think, goodness me, I've actually moved that project further forward than I thought I would have. And sometimes it can be things like having things ready where you're not waiting for paint to dry or seams to cure. You can just get on with it.
Yeah. I'm just going to Jadlam there. How are you finding the Bronco? I'm just going to switch back to the vertical. It's just basically one of the. It's my kit of the year at the moment, but because I haven't even seen the Tamiya Phantom yet, so I haven't got that to compare. But as a model so far, it's my kit of the year. It's it's spectacular. So this is coming together at the moment. Like I say, the more I look at this camouflage, the happier I am with it. It really came out well.
That's fabulous. Jim says, was Bronco camouflage freehand or blue tack sausages?
This one was all free-handed, Jim. So
using
this was free-handed. I used the HPCH for the base colours, which were Mr. Colour, and the dark green and the dark grey were done with the PS771 0.18 nozzle, using Aqueous Hobby Colour. So yeah, there you go. It's all free-handed. So
very nice.
Oh, thank you, Jim. Most appreciated. Yeah, I do. I kind of like when it. I love it when a plan comes together. When you're spraying something and you finally sit back after doing all the touch ups and stuff and go and apply the coat of gloss to it, so it sort of brings it all together and levels off all those spray marks and stuff, and you go, yeah, that's what I wanted. That's exactly much as I mask most of my camouflages these days because it's more accurate for 70 seconds and stuff like that. There is something intensely satisfying about doing a good freehand job and sitting back and going, yeah, that's.
I did that. What was it? 2 years ago when I was doing the Tamiya
Spitfire, wasn't it?
And I just thought, because I actually did. I think I ended up doing some live videos on my other page, and just it was a case of I just need to get this done. Can I still spray freehand? And it's like, yeah, you can. You get your iron after a while. Tim Campbell is a very good point. I gave one from Tim here. He says, I frequently grab 10-15 minutes to do just that. My recent 135th Hella Samoa has been like that. Add some mud here, do some shading here, add some leaf litter, add some more mud. It's actually advanced wonderfully over the past 10 days. If I'd have waited for a free hour or two, absolutely nothing would have been completed. Yeah, exactly. And Simon Lewis says, JM, did you have a minute to check the needle size of the finger? No, sorry, Simon, I've not had a chance yet. I will try and do that and give you an answer tomorrow. I do apologise. It's been a kind of a bit of a mad day here. Mad day, Ted. Bit of a mad day. So yeah, I will endeavour to do that tomorrow. Yeah, sorry about that.
Hey-ho, stuff happens.
Yeah, so it's just been, as always, first day of December, and I'm trying to do a million and one things, and and I wanted to get the final bits and pieces done in here, even though I'm still going to have to come back and do more work in the library in the new year. I wanted to get to a stage tonight whereby, I could hang the lights up, get the uplighter thingy. Although I've got to get some bulbs for that bit. And then, I've got a tree in here. It's not quite a Christmas tree, but it's a tree. And yeah, it's nice and cozy in here now. And I like it. And when you come up, we will retire to this room and read.
No
with technology.
With smoking jackets.
Smoking jackets and
smoking jackets and sherries.
And I will get some of those chocolate cigars again. Yes. Yes.
Bryn Robinson there. I'm struggling with varnishes at the moment. Can you do a talk on these at some point? Yeah, no problem. I've tried VMS thinned with leveling thinner, and I swear it got thicker. Bryn, it will. When you use leveling thinner on these acrylics, initially they will get thicker, and then you'll reach this tipping point where they will it'll start thinning right back. That said, you don't thin VMS. VMS, you spray it. You spray VMS straight from the bottle. You might have to up the pressure very slightly, but I found I know one of the guys who's a regular on my page, Alex Ruff, said she's been thinning the satin with Mr. Colour Thinner, and it's been giving him a smooth flat finish. I've tried it and I didn't like it. Don't thin it. The VMS doesn't need thinning. Up your pressure a little bit and give it a wet coat, Bryn, and it should be fine. I've got absolutely no. We'll do a discussion and a chat maybe over Christmas at some point. Maybe even on my page, and we'll cross feed it to here or something like that.
Yeah, we can. But
no, it's Bryn. I can see why people think they need to thin it because it looks quite thick in the bottles. But if you just up the pressure and apply a coat wet, but not so it runs, but so it is going on wet, and just walk away and leave it, mate. Just leave it, and it will settle in, and you'll be pleased, shall we say, with the finish you get.
I think you're gonna have to do that, Drew. We're gonna have to do a live whereby when you're at a stage where you need to slap some of that VMS, the varnish on it on something, is start the show and do it. Yeah, exactly. And then
in the next week or so, hopefully I'll be at the stage where the Bronco here is ready for the flat varnish, which will be VMS. And when I get there, we'll organise a live show.
Either do it as a live or do it as a pre-record, and then we can just run the pre-record.
Which I'll film it, or we can do it, or we can do it live. I kind of like the idea of live because we can talk as I'm doing it.
See, Tim says, I used the VMS Gloss Clear recently on the Simmer, and I found it incredibly thick and heavy, even with a 0.5 and 25 BCR. I remain undecided at this point.
I say it goes on thick, but it pulls down beautifully, I find. I find, if I the nearest, let's have a look. In terms of armor, that's the
your KV.
That's the KV, which is no further on, but is no, is still in build, shall we say? But that's just with a coat of VMS satin on it, and I think it's just pulled down. I think it's all pulled down beautifully, tightly. It certainly hasn't hidden any detail at all on it.
And Martin Kovac swears by it, doesn't he?
Yeah, and having used it for the best part of the majority of this year, I'm in full agreement. I think it's the best acrylic varnish I've ever used, and I just love the way that. I just love the way that.
The secret I have found to VMS satin is neat and put it on wet, decently high pressure.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, but that's exactly what that is. That's a decently high pressure, gone on wet, and you can see how it dries.
Yeah. I still haven't used it. I will get around to using it at some stage, but I haven't had a chance to use it yet.
How about a live in the shop next year too from Jadland?
Well, yes, exactly.
We can. It's going to be this could be interesting modelling company on tour, couldn't it?
We were hoping to do one of the days of the festival at Jadland, but unfortunately, just one thing and another. And it just, the logistics and time management and we weren't able to do it. Nothing to do with Jadland. This is purely at our end. And the old COVID as well. So we just had to reschedule it. But certainly, yes, that would certainly be something we would love to do because that would be good fun and it's local to us. So. It's an equidistant journey for the pair of us. I still think we should do a live from the Blitz Tea Room in Weston-super-Mare as well.
Absolutely, I've got no issues with it.
Yeah, well, perhaps we'll do that before Christmas. Then we'll see how the old pandemic's going. But yeah, grab a slice of cake there, and that's Jan. I'm saying we're planning to put a space aside for events like this. Yes, fantastic.
Just for us.
Just for us. Yeah. Heads.
Yeah. The interesting modelling company corner.
Yeah, you might need to widen doors to get our heads through. So there we go. Dave's got the right idea.
Now we're talking, aren't we? Now we're
talking live.
Talking of live cake tasting, I might go and have a mince pie after this.
I haven't had one. I have not had one yet, and I'm just I was going to have a nice. I was going to have a nice glass of sherry tonight. A glass of the old Harvest Bristol. I must stop doing that. I went out for a walk with my friend Alan the other day, and I drove him mad with my Terry Wogan all day.
Yes, if you would mind. Yeah, could you not? Thank you.
I try not to, but I have not had a glass of sherry tonight either, and it's just Christmas, and
See Mr. Krapovich there saying my go-to varnish is Guns GX114 Super Smooth Clear. Yeah, I mean, I love the finish it gives, but I have the same problem with that I've always had with lacquer flat finishes. Is they're so thin that it just doesn't hide carrier film.
Yeah.
It looks flat, but as soon as you catch the light, the carrier film just absolutely stands out a mile.
Yeah. And we're not talking about silvering. We're actually talking about
No,
the physical,
the physical decal. It seems to absorb a lot of the finish anyway, so it doesn't go as flat as the surrounding finish. And it just appears, which if you've got a model with a lot of markings and stencils and stuff on it, it just makes it look pretty poor.
Isn't that the thing? Isn't that the thing? Because with these slightly kind of hotter lacquer varnishes, and we'll put the aqueous stuff in there like Gunzi and Tamiya, is that when you are putting a satin or a flat over the decals, is that the paint will react with the paint, but it won't get through the areas where the decals are.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're putting a purely water-based, slightly more benign water-based varnish on top, it treats everything as equal.
Yeah.
It's We will get round to that, and we will, like I say, we will do a varnishes thing at some stage. Mike Williams is taunting me. He says, "Homemade carrot cake here with cream cheese frosting, of course." Goodness me! I tell you what, bear with me. Hang about. I will fill in, Drew. I'm just gonna go and grab something.
True, the VMS did hide the
carrot film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the result of that. That's what I've found with, generally speaking, acrylic varnishes. Full stop. The lacquer varnishes don't do that. I always use lacquer glosses.
Yeah.
I use GX Super Clear for my gloss, but I've for a long time now. The only lacquer flat finish I've ever liked was Guyanoti's flat finish, which you could build up quite thickly and hide carrier film that way, but it still pulled down into detail. But you can't really. Then all the laws changed with exporting stuff from Japan and the like, and you couldn't get it anymore. So it was that was the end of that. That was the end of that glorious 10 years of getting all of my paints and finishes from Japan.
Right.
So
I've got my bell up here, so I'm improvising. So, any other business?
Not from me.
No.
Sunday.
No. Okay. When I went for a walk yesterday, I did Loch Cheddar, right, which is Cheddar Reserve. But if you've seen any of the photographs of it, it honestly, actually, I will go and grab one. It was such a misty, rainy, foggy day on Cheddar Reserve, which I'd never been on before, incidentally. And it's dead easy to get to. It was such a misty, cold day. I'm not kidding. It honestly looked like.
Oh, that's glorious.
But it looks like Loch Ness, and I've been to Loch Ness, so I know what I'm talking about. Because you had all that low cloud hanging over the top of the Mendips there. It was fabulous. It's about two and a half miles to walk around the reserve, or walk around the reservoir rather. Absolutely chock full of widgeon. I'd never seen so many coots in my life. There were some crested grebes there, tufted ducks. It was brilliant. Absolutely fabulous. And like I say, it's only 10 miles over the hill from here, and I've never actually walked around Cheddar Reserve before.
Yeah, Mr. Fleming, you've missed loads of really, really important stuff. But if you can't be bothered to go up at the beginning, we can't be bothered to go over it again.
Yeah, exactly, Dave. You're going to have to work harder than that, mate. Honestly. And also, talking of cake, are we ready for this? Are you ready? Everybody at home, grab hold of something.
Oof.
Bailey's Irish cream cake. Okay, that little chocolate bit there is actually a Bailey's chocolate, and honestly, that cake was so obscenely good it should be banned.
You're only going to need one slice of that a year, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. That's a little cafe in Winscombe, by the way, which is a beautiful little cafe. Just right by the strawberry line. I love it there. I love Winscombe.
That piece of cake looks so rich. It's probably got property on sandbanks.
let's just say that cake was so rich. Jeffrey Cox is actually kind of like lobbying for it. So anyway, I'm just trying to work out actually which way does Father Pig get back to the kind of thing there? I don't know. You can't wait for that, can you? Eh? Of course, you do bear in mind that if you do come up here, fingers crossed, you do come up here for Christmas. You are going to have to. It is going to be, regrettably for you, it's going to be a meat-free experience. Sorry,
I've never minded that though, have I?
Okay, fair enough.
I've never minded that. How many times have I turned up at yours and you said, "Oh, I've got you some ham," and I'm like, "You needn't bother. I'll eat whatever."
That's fine. Bit of housekeeping here, people. I did get myself a new little chest freezer because I haven't had one for a couple of years. So I have been filling it up with all kinds of wonderful vegetarian stuff from Aldi. Vegetarian platt Wellingtons, and nut roasts, and delicious.
My wife just delivered sticky toffee pudding and cream to my COVID isolation room. I would say I need a COVID isolation room, but I also need COVID and a wife. So I've effectively got none of the things I need to get sticky toffee pudding delivered.
Yeah. Well, here we go. The pantry in Winscombe does a good jacket spud. Is that the pantry? Is that the baker's cat? I'm trying to remember. There's a very fine baker's right next door to the cafe, and then when you go around the corner, there is then on the opposite side of the road there is the Strawberry Line Tea Room, but that tends to be, I think that's a bit more seasonal. But this little
welcome
cafe,
to the interesting patisserie company.
Well, no. This is all obviously, we know that we are a part modelling company, a part modelling show rather, with with vested interests in cake.
We're largely cake driven.
We're largely cake driven. And in fact, there is a nice little cake shop in Cheddar, but I didn't get the chance to go there. Although I did wait for Kat to reply on that one. I did have a look at the truckles of proper cheddar in Cheddar. Cheddar, the ultimate cheddar. Cheddar. There is no cheese called cheddar that is more cheddary than this cheddar from the real Cheddar Cheese Company. Although I do seem to remember the one time some cheddar actually defeated you, and that was Fiery Fred's, made by Gould Farm. That cheddar was so strong, you went, I can't eat any more of that.
Well, yeah, because it's hurting the roof of your mouth.
Yeah, that's the one. Cat knows it. Yes, next to the bakery. Yeah, that's where we work at. It's fantastic. The caged aged stuff is the best ever. Yeah, Rob, that's what I got my eye on. I actually priced it up the other day with the little individual slices, and I picked up some of the individual slices, and I was kind of like segmenting them around the truckle, and it works. The truckle just works out so much cheaper.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
Anyway, so you can tell it's getting near Crystals. We're being very loose now.
We've covered jacket spuds, cake, and we've moved on to cheddar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we will. And I started another mince pie today, so I really do need to wrap up here, people. So Dave Rubbery says, "Blessed are the cheese." Blessed are the cheddar cheese makers. Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, we will hopefully be back on Sunday. You back on Sunday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm available.
Whether we're in the workshop or whether we're still here in the library, who knows? But it just remains, obviously, for those of you who are out there at the moment who are self-isolating, we wish you all a speedy recovery, and please do stay out of trouble.
Yeah, it's been quite COVID-y in here tonight, hasn't it?
Yeah, well,
it's been quite COVID-y.
Yes, but we will try and we will endeavour to try and stay the right side of the old lateral flow test at the moment.
And we hope you all feel better soon. And
but anyway, as I say, for those of you who are currently self-isolating, then do take care, and we wish you all a speedy recovery. To the rest of you, stay safe, stay out of trouble, and we will, fingers crossed, see you on Sunday.
See you later.
Bye for now.